keep looking at the blues, finding a vast ocean, for there will be something searching for the home. It was in you, or I could find what's drunk in the other room without knowing it was you. Always and never, to whom I adore so much, whom divine heavens struggled over the reach. Or it was that for let me teach you, or it's to preach this to crime, but the mind and say enough of this all done. Stop being controlling, and most of these days hurting. In some ways to take time, the days I can find ways to push this through anyway, for the feeding of the fed, or full of days that are empty, and days to be looking for. Hailstorms and haikus, this is wild afternoon sky, wild makes curtain wave for us cloud, weeping over the block of ice. This is a miracle. For how much time have you lost waiting on miracles or the getting government to help you for the safe enough of this to find them all. It's too cynical for the skeptical, enough of the conspiracy to wait. Embers in your darkness and pitch black for your bonding over what the moonlight's night. This find hope for the light, hope for the devour from within, like a parasite for this is sin. And precious hell you found. This is the eruption of the embers of your brilliant lethal in circles of fire. You what you find attractive is you can't admire, tall, cute, slow, loving with a child and never the loyal. Is that not friendly enough for your feeling to being home, for this to feel like home, and never to find to think this is how you feel, to no one ever find a moment for that you can come. Lightning strike with this and notice and never to find a slight shift in your constriction. They would all want to be heard, but because I wait for your love, the birds sing. Life is more than just words. You are still stuck on manifesting things and awaking for the learning over your hurt and the power. Will you choose the power within? For the race is not meant to be ran fast. It's to remember even the car needs refueling of the gas, and I refueled and refused, and never to find what's EV, electric, and the Tesla. But this is lucid and never the stressing of importance of how I remember the thoughts. So this is cold. As a child, the proper, this is be old. Sense to who we are inside, for the remember the love is only you. Some found outside for the influence of what you find most important to realize. Inside of this is the real, not perception or not deception, or a piece of the universe of the faith that God will provide you. Never to think and grow free for the spirit. And you are yourself in your faith, and you have a God to meet, to measure for the love for that you perceive, and never the truth of you for that you can find a conquest. This to love me, and I want to show you, improve to you, for not to do anything for you for the like. Who's amazing enough for the day, for the chance, and this to find another way for the day, for the yesterday was the choice, and this is the rainfall, dark clouds bringing rainfall for the delight. Catastrophic enough for the inner calm, and this rainfall will be not the sorrow for the day to have that regret, for this ascent for the blossom you suddenly vanishing over your entire universe came to stop it. You can find a sunny moon, for this is all misguided. Walk a righteous path, this is only explained in a span for the horizon, the spreading of the piece of the land full of violence, and you had to go back to bed, for this is not the sun to reach the ancient text. This is through the lands of the science, the moon traveling over the sleep of the eyelids, and you can find a record for the blaming of a clone of a giant. Trust that cosmic mind, and you have all what's in time for the world of lies, and involve yourself in the dimension of mind for the channeling of what you find a circle of life for this above as below. It's the way you sign before you reborn, the first must die. To have life, this is the girl that wants to grow into a woman that weeps. This is for the woman before her, for the reflection of a mirror, for the tell yourself how beautiful you are, for the fallen star, for the sky, for the girl that everyone wants to stand by next to, adjacent for the ghost of the concrete world. Dressed in black, covered in cuts, wandering aimlessly through the night, not a poem sung for recommendation or reconciliation over the what you remember, for this not to be in vain, for the struggling over what you rather rain for the lonely Saturday or Sunday, for there was not that weather, or not you knew for the monumental with a purpose and never to be heard anymore, for this is all a spider was splash ripple, for the fish jumps out of the water, for the breaking over the surface of the tension you can find a ripple, for this is all the flicker over the nadir, or a narrative to be real enough for the reading page of the newspaper. It was old enough for the imagination to ignite. I find what's wrong, and what's right. What's all that's left, the common denominator for what you believe in. everybody believes me now. Well, then everybody believes me now. Well, then everybody believes me now. Well, then everybody believes me now. What you refuse to believe yourself, this is going to say about me. Well, then everybody believes me now. What you refuse to believe yourself, this is going to say about me. An everlasting love and not need to control for the glory of might. Only want to hold. Well, then everybody believes me now. Well, then everybody believes me now. Ordinarily, choices are made. Feeling that they won't leave me alone. These will be the bugs in the eyes. This is the nibbling in the bones. So this is all. The feeding in the hungry ghost. Didn't have a stomach not to feel hungered enough to please, driven by the desires, got me feeling anxious. But I'll strive for the bliss and food secrets of the jewelry to sustain, not for the hunger, but the yet craving keeps coming in. The skin keeps itching, the figures to keep twitching over. You're dying to hold, diverse to reach. Your stomach yet starved at the greed for this thirst. This sting would be stroke. What feeling on a hungry stomach? This is all they're feeling. To blame and not to help. The grasp of what's inevitable enough for the feeding of the hungry ghost eye. Find time and that's always reaching. For the future, the past, that past, this is Mr. Present. For actual important of a path, this is time for the passion for you, for never to be compromised, for the secret to remain at the heart, for this is a passion for you. And the pain and I innocence and not remember. Around enough of the big ideas and unharmed. When you did smile, but it did turn to hatred. This is not what's washed clean, but this the cleanses well enough for the germ for you not seen. And the freight train of a love for the freight, twirling over the stem of the new. A rose that said blossoms of blooms. This is within the air for the time to come soon. This is reaching the top. This is how this feel to feel. Nothing at all for the useless enough to wonder. But what's the point for the single day for this no understanding of the how do you know what's the wrong? Or how do you know what's the vessel for the twirling over what you reach the top? Or an understanding of what you don't even know for the words of the poem, for the fine enough to become hidden tears. It's whatever you can't think of the title to enjoy. For this is subtle. Issue for the deep. Being bones, flesh, just blood, a tissue. For this is what we have to bring that we happily find supply. For the coming to the misuse. Or the misuse for this is defending for the agenda, for the narrative, for the someone house, for this to blame, for this the point of view, for this the buying into the fear, for the media. Do you find the deadly mantra of your deuce? This is fear. Far and wide, there's an echo for the chamber to repeat. Same things as they do for the challenges meet, or met for the hostility for the aggressivity enough that you can find the true mountains of your whole mole hills. Everything becomes an issue for the instead of that trying to figure out what is a percept. And the finding of the real truth for the shutting down something that doesn't compute. No chance of disclosure or discourse, just leaning on your chance to make friendship for the subdued enough for the telling you over the plain dude enough to keep all you divided. Keeping up with the powers for the half united. Keep up with the fools and never they might be right and I might be wrong for never the time they will prove. And I can't think of what you can sing for your checkup for your drawers. Enough to call for both laugh hysterically for enough of the troubling of the past is unable to surpass your reaching of a will. Or will you be waving back to the knowing it was you? Always and never for the think you adore so much what whom heaven struggled into reach. This is never to find a brighter star that's preached. This is all. Always with you for the hands not to touch. This is all. Whose eyes catch your sky's beauty blue. Who could find the vastest, the ocean shore. This is the one that's been searching for you. This came called my home. I am you. But then everybody believes me now. What you refuse to believe yourself, this is going to say about everlasting love and not need to control for the glory of might. Only want to hold. Repeat the voice of the soundtrack for the favorite movie, or how did I know how to love you, so I asked. Mourning for the question for the open eyes, and this is the feeling of rage. And I can tell this merry-go-round. Piles of trash, rotting breath, this finding consuming for the energy, for the existence, for the nothing left, for this is the keeping the strap. Keeping the cycles broken and never to stop loving. Set me free for I'm ready to go for just to leave. I honestly don't know, considering what the curse is, for you are the peace, this glance of the love, the way you looked at me for the peaking. Fences you look into eternity. Complications without. Very aware of with the creating of. For the magnifying glass of the logic and the wisdom. Half the problem will be visible now. Just to stay in the mind, for they can't seem to let it go. Whether it's like for this to be simple enough at the solving of everybody knows and boding of what you find is right for the layers of secrets, traumas, mysteries, lies, betrayal, everything that comes in the package, the complications for going to make up a version for your darkness and it doesn't find it fancy enough for this to have to come out the dress. Dreadful. In the phase of the life, it won't be essence of darkness to take the time to find emotionally for this attached. For the reasons why I know for the strong to dominate for the convincing it felt like a safe place in my mind. Promise to keep me alert for the ready to attack, ready to survive, ready to defend. Moments where the feelings are going wrong for this to help me become less vulnerable enough for the good for me. Cause I don't want to feel the pain, regret, guilt. Want to be in denial cause acceptance is too hard for me for you can find it was successful enough to become the rat for the trap for this addict for the complication. Some rocks and stones, this is my back for the tower for tough enough. Rigid for the stones and never to find a carrot enough. As long as I can remember for the repeating of what your voice is a soundtrack to my favorite movie. How did I know it was you? How did I know? Fight for the constant mind, for the stand here in the light for the day, for the wild is still the day for the pondering, meaning while stay for the lurk for the veil. Full villains and never the time to watch. This is innocence. A touch of heavens for the pondering, meaning for why. Want your light to sway, never the coast. This to find a seed for the dreary afternoon. For the devil takes hold for your strategy. For the resistance of what you can wind. What stand above. Discouragement begins, weeds grow. For this feeling the mind squeeze the toe. Word of despair for the spite. And what I know for the reason for the life of the suffering for the contend. Refuse to listen to the thought for the shut my mind. Squeeze a bend for this repeating it for the powerful word and confident. Help. Superior savior for the drawing near. This is again the voice that entered to the wedge of the castle of the night. For this to be the holding us into the actual rock. Pain, weariness, and I cry for the shout for this word for the never to find the minding of the drive and in and out for the cutting of a weave for the body hair for you can find a plague in my mind. I work in the mill for the two power for the grind for never the midst of the fight for this to give the ground for the thought for the never before I knew it for the breaking of walls is found. Must prepare no matter for the toil and never the loss of time for the cost of this to plead for God for this the previous service and never the cast down for the forever loss of just from without the peace and the quiet. And though the midst of others to stand calm, still find ignorant enough in the warfare. This is with them the battle inside for even the less of the spirit for throughout the sage. Siege to stand by my side for to give you the words of my Lord for this affair. Simple for the catapult, trouble for the unleashing against that onslaught. This endless of assault. Forming the star for the change and the drift. Forming exposed to the enemy to the acquaintance. You shift for that plant growing on the wall, for the danger in the flesh, for the seeming of what you find an aid to change. This is who will be refreshed. For the enemy and 2-1 for the hooper man. And waits upon me for the this to be the true and never the dearest friend, for the wine, the regret, for the strong drink. Or the dark do not share, for the memories of the other let down, the relationship for the impossible enough to repair, for the beer's cake, but bold, or never the white front, for this is self-pity, for the sweet, pure, aroused, or never the giddy, for this is all what's whispered, enough for the implied. Words into the images again and again. Reply for the open the book, for the flip through the ways of the page and all that was already read. Can you find what's this? The dear reader, for this believing in all in your head. This lies cry, but they are not for this war. The stories of the deeds of this until the done. Exposing to the strong. This would be the foe for the battle for the seemed one. I'm off guard for this the city, those within the care. No more safeguarded for the mind. We feel for the conquered enough at the But then everybody believes me now. What you refuse to believe yourself, this is going to say about an everlasting love, not need to control for the glory of might. Only one to hold. Repeat the voice of the soundtrack for the favorite movie, or how did I know how to love you, so I asked. Warning for the question, for the open eyes, and this is the feeling of rage. And I can tell this merry-go-round. Piles of trash, rotting breath. This fine consuming for the energy, for the existence, for the nothing left. For this is the keeping the strap, keeping the cycles broken and never to stop loving. Set me free, for I'm ready to go, for just to leave. I honestly don't know, considering what the curse is for you are the peace, just a glance, the love, the way you looked at me for the peaking, the fences you look into eternity, complications without, very aware of, the creating of, for the magnifying glass of the logic and the wisdom. Half the problem would be visible now, just to stay in the mind, for they can't seem to let it go. Whether it's like for this to be simple enough for the solving of, everybody knows the emboldening of what you find is right for the layers of secrets, traumas, mysteries, lies, betrayal, everything that comes in the package, the complications for they're going to make up a version for your darkness, and it doesn't find it fancy enough for this to have to come out the dress. Dreadful. In a phase of the life, it won't be essence of darkness to take the time to find emotionally for this attached, for the reasons why I know for the strong to dominate, for the convincing it felt like a safe place in my mind. Promise to keep me alert, for the ready to attack, ready to survive, ready to defend. Moments where the feelings are going wrong, for this to help me become less vulnerable enough for the good for me. Because I don't want to feel the pain, regret, guilt, or want to be in denial, because acceptance is too hard for me, for you can find it was successful enough to become the rat for the trap, for this addict for the complications. Rocks and stones, this is my back for the tower, for tough enough, rigid for the stones, and never to find a carrot enough, as long as I can remember for the repeating of what your voice is the soundtrack to my favorite movie. How did I know it was you? How did I know? Fight for the constant mind, for the stand here, the light for the day, for the wild, still the day for the pond, but meaning wild, the stay for the lurk for the fill. Full villain, gins are never the time to watch, this is innocence. Or touch of heavens for the ponder, but meaning for why. Watch your light this way, never the coast, for this to find a seed for the dreary afternoon, for the devil takes hold for your strategy, for the resisting of what you combine, what's stand bold. Discouragement begins, weeds grow, for this feeling the mind squeeze the toe. Word of despair for the spite, and what I know for the reason, for the life, for the suffering, for the contend. Refuse to listen to the thought, for the shut my mind, squeeze the bend, for this repeating another for the powerful word, confident, help. Superior savior for the drawing near. This is again the voice that entered to the wedge of the castle of the night, for this will be the holding us into the actual rock. The pain, weariness, and no I cry, but the shout for this word, for the never to find a mind to get a drive, and in and out for the cutting of a weave at the body hair, for you can find a plague in my mind. I work in the mill for the two power, for the grind, for never the midst of the fight, for this give ground, for the thought for never before I knew it, for the breaking of walls is found. Must prepare no matter for the toil and never the loss of time, for the cost of this plea for God, for this the previous service and never the cast down, for the forever lost just from a without the peace and the quiet. And though the midst of others to stand calm, still find ignorant enough in the warfare, this is with them the battle inside, for even the lesson of the spirit for throughout the say. Siege to stand by my side, for give me the words of my Lord, for this fear, for the catapult. Trouble for the unleashing against that onslaught, this endless of the assault. Forming the star for the change in the drift, forming exposed to the enemy to the acquaintance. You shift for that plant growing on the wall, for the danger of the flesh, for the seeming of what you find the aid to change. This who will be refreshed. For the enemy into one for the Uber man. Waits upon me for the this to be the true and never the dearest friend, for the wine of regret, for the strong drink. For the dark do not share, for the memories of the other let down, the relationship for the possible enough to repair, for the beer's cake. Bold or never the white front, for this is self-pity, for the sweet, pure, aroused or never the giddy, for this is all what's whispered or never the implied. Words into the images again and again. Reply for the open the book, for the flip through the ways and page and all that was already read. Can't you find what's this? The dear reader for this believing in all in your head. This lies cry, but they are not for this war. The stories of the deeds of this intended done. Exposing to the strong. This would be the foe for the battle for the seems one. I'm off guard for this the city, those within the care. No more safeguarded for the mind. We feel for the conquered enough of the